Hello friends, Salam Alaikum. Let us find out who's calling us from within. We constantly feel like we want to do something, plan a project, say something and do an activity. They keep us active. We also established that man is a box that contains two key metaphysical components, the soul and the ego. Therefore, these feelings or calls must also come from two sources, the soul or the ego. And as soul and ego spring from two different but absolutely opposite sources, so these feelings or calls must also have opposite characteristics. We humans think that every call that came from within comes from me, comes from my heart, and comes from the same source. But this is not true. As you've experienced, and it is evident in our world, some humans have acted like angels while others have acted like monsters. We've seen it in our current time and in the history, and there are millions of examples. So the point is that two opposing calls from within come from two opposing sources. They control our body, senses, thoughts, mind, and external resources like wealth, political position, or social status in two opposite directions. Because we think that every call that came from within comes from me, and so we immediately receive them and act on them. But here we reveal that the commands come from two opposite sources, soul or ego. So what do we mean by contrast? They must have conflicting desires. One should take us to the right path and the other to the wrong path. One should lead us in the spiritual direction and the other in the self-centeredness and selfishness. One should lead us to our happiness and the happiness of the society, and the other should lead us to the destruction of the society and even to our own harm. We cannot distinguish between the two. One is like eating honey, it is healthy for you. The other one is also like honey, but inside is poison. They are similar, but the other has deadly poison inside. If only we could see where these orders came from. One comes from the soul, the other comes from the ego. Let us take an example. On occasion, we like to be honest and sincere and tell the truth because we have the soul inside us. The soul wants to take honesty and sincerity and treat it like food. Therefore, we enjoy honesty and sincerity. Because we have the ego, and the ego is the opposite of the soul, and in other situations we try to cheat and lie and be dishonest. We enjoy both situations. We are strange creatures. Its consumption affects the soul as if you were taking honey. It cures many diseases and is delicious. The other is delicious as well, and we enjoy and love it too, but there is poison in it. It is like poison itself, harmful, highly toxic to our personality, physical and spiritual health. Not everything that we desire, not everything that we want is good for us. Many of the things that we have wished for and tried to achieve have turned our lives into hellfire. Don't you see people who lead the war? Do you think that they think they are doing something wrong? They think they are doing the right thing. In our opinion, however, they are doing something wrong. According to them, we are wrong. So we are not pointing fingers at one person who's leading war. Our point is that the same mechanism that is embedded in a person in Russia is embedded in the body of politicians of America, France, in me, in you, in all of us. And the problem is that we cannot recognize the calls coming from the inside. It's all about the messages we receive from within. When the soul commands in our hearts, it encourages us to be peaceful and kind to others. Any other time ego is involved, it makes us the worst animal on the planet. May God Almighty help us to understand who we are and to recognize the types of orders that we receive from within, one of which makes this world heaven on earth, and the other makes this world hellfire. Very important. You are the same person, but within us we have two key metaphysical components, the soul and the ego. If a request comes from the soul, no matter how bad it seems to ourselves and others, it is good to receive and carried out. A request that comes from the ego, no matter who approves it, the whole world approves it, it is not good. It will have severe consequences. Thank you very much for your time. I will see you in our next video.